Hi everyone, how are you doing? I'm just going to wait for a couple of people to come in and let me know if you can hear me okay. Um, and if the sound is, better than it was last Thursday when when I heard the video back and I sounded like a robot or some kind of weird um, creature. But for anybody watching this later, thank you so much for tuning into this video. And for those who are joining now, thank you so much. Thank you, Ayana. Thank you for coming in to test this for me. I did a test a couple of days ago and it sounded okay, but I just wanted to make sure that today was okay too, that it didn't revert back to whatever the issue was last Thursday when. Oh, there is a slight buzz behind me. I don't know what that is. Give me 1 second and let me try something. Okay, hopefully that'll get better. Oh, you know what? It may just be the computer. I will look into that. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in today. And today's topic is rest and resilience, for the most part. I do have a couple of small things that I want to get into in addition to that. But really, today I want to start off with rest and resilience. Before I get into that, for those who may just be joining me for the first time ever or watching this on YouTube or Facebook for the first time ever, my name is AJ. I am a social and personality psychologist, a certified executive leadership coach, and a speaker and author, and I do a lot of leadership development work and diversity, equity, and inclusion consulting work with individuals and organizations. And really my purpose in life is to help people transform themselves into conscientious, compassionate, people-centered leaders, and to increase their visibility while doing so. Because, it's nice guys do win, nice girls do win, nice people do win, and that comes from compassion, and that comes from being people-centered. So that's sort of my purpose in life, and that's why I do these videos, is to help anybody who might be watching them at any time with some of these sort of leadership, personal, human issues that come up that make us feel like we're not being good leaders, make us think we're not being good leaders, or act in ways that are counter to being people-centered leaders. So that's why I do what I do. And if any of this helps you, I'm really glad. I would love to hear from you, just to find out, what your experience has been, how anything I say in any of these videos may help you. So don't hesitate to drop a line and connect with me. That would be actually a lot of fun. But let's get into today's topic, rest and resilience. Now, last Wednesday, we had a sip and learn experience, like lunch and learn, but with libations, a sip and learn experience virtually on tapping into your resilience to unlock your potential. My voice is starting to have a distorted sound to it. This is exactly what happened last time, and I don't know why this keeps happening. I have nothing I can, maybe it is. 1 second. All right, does that sound better? I hope it doesn't get worse, but I hope it doesn't sound distorted. I don't understand what's going on with this. But last Wednesday, we had a sip and learn on resilience, tapping into your resilience to unlock your potential. Now, resilience is such a huge topic that we are going to have several sip and learns about it. covering various factors. Like this Wednesday, we have one coming up on compassion in action, inward and outward, and what the relationship between compassion, resilience, and your mindset is. And I am featuring Coach Jerry Kuykendall in that, and he is a holistic transformational coach who works in the health space with fat loss. But he's phenomenal. He's got just such a Zen view about everything that I love chatting with him. So I thought I'd bring him on for a sip and learn, and we can have a conversation about compassion and give people some actionable tips on compassion that they can start implementing immediately. But that's actually directly relevant to my topic today, rest and resilience. So one thing we weren't able to cover in the Sip and Learn last week was that there's 4 types of resilience that we as human beings all have the innate capacity for. Psychological resilience, emotional resilience, physical resilience, and community resilience, actually. Now, psychological resilience is just resilience of your mind, right? So how you think, your thoughts, your attitudes, the kind of systems, the mental systems you have set in your place. Emotional resilience is how do you bounce back from your emotions, especially the negative emotions. Fear resilience is one of it. How do you get over your fears? Shame resilience. Brene Brown did a fantastic book on it, on shame resilience. That's also an emotional resilience. Courage is a very good example of being resilient in the face of fear, right? Because courage is literally knowing you're afraid of something and doing it anyway so that you can bounce back. So courage is an incredible real life example of emotional resilience, of fear resilience. Then we have physical resilience, how our bodies respond to adversity, how our bodies respond to stress physically. And we have community resilience. How do our communities react and bounce back, especially in times of crisis? Because that's where resilience comes in, adversity. So what we're going through right now, overall, with COVID-19 is a great example of how resilient we are being as communities. Some people may say we're being very resilient by staying home and doing what we need to do in order to bounce back. And then there are others who think that, who feel that bouncing back is living their regular life with no changes, no quarantine, all of that. But either way, it's how that idea of resilience manifests in your life. Today, I actually want to talk about the interconnectedness of all of these 4 types of resilience in our lives. I will leave the exploration of the 4 types for another Sip and Learn, but today I want to talk about the interconnectedness, because for us to be truly resilient in all aspects of our lives, we actually need to be psychologically resilient, emotionally resilient, physically resilient, and then through us, we actually manifested into the community. It's kind of like herd immunity, right? Community resilience is how resilient are the people within it. Now, it also has other components like the resources and all of that. But on the personal level, a community is something that is made up of individuals. So its resilient is going to be impacted by those who are a part of that community. Now, so today I want to talk about rest and resilience. And the thing is, rest is something that affects all 4 of these types of resilience. Psychological, emotional, physical, and community. And when I say rest, I don't necessarily mean sleep. Of course, sleep is a part of it. We all need adequate sleep or enough sleep or at least some sleep. for our bodies to be able to heal, and for our bodies to be able to bounce back with enough energy for the next phase, for the next circadian rhythm, for the next day, however you want to call it. So rest is a tangible way for you to practice resilience, because when you allow yourself rest, you are actually practicing compassion, self-compassion. And you are letting your mind and body just be. So by doing that, you are actually increasing your resilience, because you have that break period to where you can bounce back further than when you weren't rested. But here's the important or interesting thing rather about rest and resilience, right? Resilience happens during adversity, and it's especially during adversity that we rest the least. Psychologically, we're trying to get through the adversity. We're trying to make sure that we're doing the right things, that we have the right mindset, that we have the right attitudes, that, you know, we're taking care of everything, we're following all the rules, all of that. Emotionally, we're trying not to get into depressive cycles. We're trying to sort of, seize the day, write a book, become the next Oprah, whatever we want to do. Physically, that takes a toll on us. And then the question then becomes, who are we being in the community to help build its resilience? And if that sounds a little abstract, I'm going to make it very concrete right now. Everything I just described in terms of it's during adversity that we feel like we have to be the busiest, that we're going out of our minds, that we have to keep planning for the future, and that we have to get through this, that this is an active battle on all fronts. That doesn't allow us to rest. That's what creates anxiety. That's what creates busyness and not productivity. And that's what creates overwhelm. And I say all of that because that's what I did to myself last week. I had this great idea, which I'm going to tell you guys about in just a few minutes. But I had this great idea, and I was just so energized by it and this great idea is directly related to being able to tangibly help people during this COVID-19 crisis and after that I felt like I had to work myself into the ground to make this happen last week. It's a huge project. The idea I came up with and the project I decided to undertake is a huge project. Realistically, it probably takes about a month to build out. I was hell-bent on getting it all done in 5 days, hell-bent on it. And so I worked myself into the ground, and lo and behold, I started getting anxious. I started feeling overwhelmed. I started feeling restless and had insomnia at the same time while being exhausted. And it was a roller coaster, you know. And for me, the rest that got me out of that phase and back into my regular, normal working mode was Avatar: The Last Airbender. The animated version, the original animated version, not whatever came out in the last few years. I don't even know what to call that one. So Avatar: The Last Airbender. I spent a night and a half and I just binge watched as many episodes as I could, and slept a whole ton. And then I woke back up and it was obviously the rest was something that was so needed that it helped me function. Now, the reason I bring that up is a lot of us don't realize that idea of rest is actually an act of self-compassion. And compassion and your mindset are deeply related, right? This is something we are going to talk about in our Sip and Learn this Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you are interested in attending the workshop, drop a comment on Facebook, and I will come find the comment and I will send you the link. This is Wednesday, April 22nd at 8 p.m. EST. And so as long as you drop a comment before that, I'll be able to send you the registration link and then get you the password protected access code, which we will be monitoring. So that's that. Now, so that's how I sort of bounced back and was resilient, was by getting that rest. Now, here is how I've been resilient. Now, one of these, I want to talk about my ideas a little bit. One of the ways that I feel like I've been resilient is with that free mindset support hours that I have been offering for healthcare practitioners dealing with COVID-19. This is also to help these practitioners practice their resilience and compassion. And anytime I'm able to help people that way, it fills my cup. It empowers me to feel more resilient. So I love doing that. And that happened before I went through my crazy work period last week. But the thing that came up, the reason I went into my crazy work mode last week was so I came up with this idea that I think will actually help people by tangibly putting money back in their hands to pay their bills or to support the charities that they love and just can't support right now because they don't have the extra cash. Or it is to help themselves, or it is for them to take advantage of in any way possible. And really what I created is a referral program. And it's a really funny, funny in a good way, but it's a really interesting little referral program, and I've been getting amazing feedback on it. So I will be releasing more details about that publicly soon. But it was figuring out the nitty-gritty details of this program that made me work myself into the ground, which is kind of ironic because the whole point of that was to help other people while helping myself. And I did end up helping myself eventually, but not initially. So now the other thing I want to talk about is, and I really want to spend the rest of the time talking about this, is I know, and this has come up for me with feedback and things like that in the past. And that's about how I never talk about how you should handle anybody else. And the thing is, yes, I don't talk about how you should handle your kids. I have no tips for how you should talk about resilience with your kids. I don't give you tips on how you should talk about it with your spouses. I don't give you tips about how you should manage relationships in this time or, anything like that. Now, if someone asks me a direct question, sure, but I don't volunteer those. And I have a reason for that. And I'm going to continue down the path that I'm going on, and I'm not going to start offering those tips with all due respect to the people that ask, were asking me why I don't do that. It's because I want to focus on you. If you have kids, if you have spouses, if you have significant others, dogs, whatever, all of the other living beings in your life, you are the connecting thread in your life for all of them. So I don't give you tips about anybody else because I know that by focusing on you, I can have a ripple effect on all of them too, because you are at the center of your life. You are at the center of your spheres of influence. And when you are showing up, and it's all of your contributions in all of these spaces that matter, right? And they come from you. So you matter. And when I can help you be who you want to be across all of the spaces of your life, then I know that you can come up with your own tips for your kids. Come up with your own way to talk to your spouse. Come up with, ways to talk to your boss or coworkers or whomever else. That's why my focus is on individuals. When we focus on the individual sense of self and make sure that that sense of self is completely solid, that always has a ripple effect into the community. That's why that's the basis of that's the basis of community resilience that I was talking about, but that's also the basis of all of my programs, all of my services. I focus on you so that you can then be who you want to be, to focus on all of these other living things in your life, or non-living things, animate, inanimate. That's up to you, really. But my focus is on you. This is why I always directly talk to you. I don't have tips or strategies that you can use on other people. My tips and strategies are always going to be about you directly. So if that is something that you want to invest in, if that is something that you want to talk about, if that is something you want to explore, if that is something that is necessary right now, because you're not able to focus on yourself otherwise, I can create and hold that space for you. So please reach out. This is not a time where, I'm not going to say don't focus on, your priorities. Of course, you want to focus on your priorities, but I am here to remind you that you have to be your first priority. Your sense of self has to be your first priority if you want to have the impact that you want to have on the inside with your contributions. If you actually want to manifest that into the contributions in your life, then we have to focus on you, and we have to make sure that you thrive and that you're mentally well. Everything else, almost everything else, will fall into place after that. And that's my parting message for today, actually. Thank you so much for tuning in, to everybody who tuned into the live. And if you're catching this on video later, thank you so much for tuning into this video. As you can tell, we did have a few hiccups along the way. So things got a little weird in terms of the conversation due to technical issues. But hopefully I'll get them completely figured out. I hope this is better than it was last Thursday. I'm going to test it out after, and I'm going to keep tinkering with this until my quality is back to what it was a couple weeks ago. But I'll be back on Thursday with another live stream and hopefully better video quality. For everybody who joined and for everybody tuning in to this video later, thank you so much. Please feel free to subscribe on Facebook, Instagram. My YouTube channel is AJ Rao LLC. You can subscribe to that one as well. And if you want to have a chat about your sense of self, please reach out and schedule your free clarity call on my website. All right? I'll see you guys on Thursday. Bye. Thank you, Facebook user.